Well, Diego Pavia and Eli Stowers add the Walter Camp Award watch list to their resume. Now that's 6 players up for 7 awards, man. That's a big deal. They have no choice but to improve. They're stealing that. They're getting attention. It's going to be fun. Let's get it.
You are Locked On Vandy, your daily podcast on the Vanderbilt Commodores, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hey, welcome into the Locked On Vandy podcast on the Locked On Podcast Network. I'm your host, Corey Burton. Thanks for making Locked On Vandy your first listen each and every day. We're free and available wherever you get your podcasts and on YouTube as a part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Shout out to the everydayers. Shout out to however you got here, whether you're on the audio side or the YouTube side. I appreciate you equally. Thank you for being here. So this is an exciting time for Vanderbilt because when you look at kind of how things are going with fall camp, like there's some exciting news on the defensive front, like the offense is getting their reps, and there's a lot of fun things happening there. Martel Height's becoming the star of the show, even though there's some injury concern now with him. He'll probably be okay. Be ready to go by the beginning of the season. You have some wide receivers that are starting to emerge. You have insane depth at the linebacker position. Like there's a lot of great things with this team that gives you a lot of hope. But the biggest thing is this. There's a lot of guys getting preseason attention. A lot of guys made some watch lists, and we're going to talk about that in a minute, I'm going to show you the list. And it's just, with that many guys on watch lists, I don't know that Vanderbilt's had that many in quite some time, if ever. Like there's guys that are you wouldn't think would be on there on these lists. It just leaves you with that bit of hope. It leaves you with that anticipation. With camp going well, you do well in the portal. You have a great season last season. You end on an extremely high note in the bowl game. You have a really good recruiting class coming together for this next cycle. I mean, things are looking up. The Netflix documentary is out, and that is extremely good. And I'll give a specific review on it on a later episode. But this is like the needle's pointing up. You have a fast-growing city. You're participating in NIL. You have a AD and an administration that is now starting to buy in. Man, like I don't know what else I can do to drum up some excitement. We just got to get on the field and start playing. Let's play now. Let's just kick off right now because like I said, you can cut the tension with the knife, the excitement, the anticipation. It's all there. And it's all because these guys are stepping up and these guys are buying in and they're doing their thing. And so this is an exciting time of year, and it's going to be absolutely outstanding. So here's a list of guys with the preseason watch list, man. Diego Pavia just continues to be a superstar for this team. I mean, he was great last year and didn't even really have command of the offense and wasn't even really sure through 6 days of practice last summer if we weren't sure if he was even going to be the starter. He was in a thick competition there with Nate Johnson, and we weren't sure. Now he's unequivocally the starter. He's been the star of the offseason, the star of the season, the star of the Netflix documentary, beat Alabama, beat Auburn on the road, beat Hugh Freeze again, beat Kentucky, and just led this team to some new heights. And I think he can lead them even further. So he's up for the Maxwell Award, which is an extremely prestigious award. Shedeur Sanders won it last year for Colorado as he was a Heisman finalist. And then, of course, the Walter Camp Award, Eli Stowers. He's on all the preseason All-American lists and all the all-conference lists. He's got every accolade you could ever want. He's up for the Walter Camp Award as well. He's on the watch list. So you have 2 Commodores on an elite list. You have another on the Maxwell list, which is also an elite award. Martel Height, the all Mr. Everything, is all the Paul Horning watch list. Cedric Alexander has made it on the Doak Walker list. Brock Taylor, the Brocket Launcher, is on the Lou Groza Award watch list. And Marlon Sewell's on the Danny Warfel watch list, which is for being a good human. So you look at this list, man, these are all key contributors, and they're all going to be extremely, extremely productive for this team. All right. Diego Pavia, we know what he's got. The leadership, the qualities, and all the things you want him to improve on. He's improving on as camp goes on. He's You see him improving his footwork. You see him improving his decision-making. He is making throws. He is patient in the pocket. He is trying to win from the pocket, and he knows he needs to do that. He knows that needs to be a big aspect of his game if, A, he's going to have a chance at one of these awards and putting up numbers, and B, Vanderbilt's got to win for him to stay on these lists and become a semifinalist and a finalist, right? So all those factors are involved with him winning this award. So these individual awards ultimately become team awards because of what you do. Shedeur Sanders last year was up for the Heisman because he helped lead Colorado to a 9-3 record. The combination of him and Travis Hunter, amongst other guys, obviously, they had a really good team, really well coached. But they went 9-3 after I think Colorado went. I think in Prime's first year, I think they won like 4 or 5 games. They didn't make a bowl. I don't think they were like 5-7 or 4-8 or something like that. They weren't very good. They were still establishing some things, but this is exciting. This is exciting for Vanderbilt, for Vanderbilt football to have these guys on the list. Eli Stowers. That guy's going to be tremendous. He's a huge building block to this offense. Going to be a NFL first rounder. He's on these preseason All-American list, All-Conference list. I mean, the guy is a universal weapon. He can be the pitch guy in the option. He can be the shovel receiver on the shovel option. He can be short. He could catch shot plays. He can do it all, man. He mossed a Georgia Tech defender in the bowl game. He's caught tough passes over the middle. He's caught crossing routes, short screen passes, things like that. I mean, I think he ran a jet sweep at some point too. Like there's and he threw a pass. He threw a touchdown pass. So there's like nothing he can't do. He's a former quarterback, obviously, but he's going to be extremely valuable. And Tim Beck and Jerry Kill and Clark Lee are going to use him in every possible way. You have Martel Height, who unfortunately is in concussion protocol right now. But he's going to be a really good two-way star. He comes over to offense and immediately electrifies that unit, and so immediately brings juice to that wide receiver position. So he's going to be somebody that I think Paul Hornung is a guy who played multiple positions, Heisman Trophy winner, great legendary Green Bay Packer, and just all-around great player for Notre Dame. I think Martel Height is somebody who embodies that award as far as being able to take on multiple roles. So I'm excited about that. The Lou Groza Award winner, the Brocket launcher, looking for a more consistent year out of him. But I mean, great kicker. Such value there. He's going to be a weapon. I feel like this year, with the way things ended last year, and the training that they're getting, I feel like inside the 50, you're in range with the Brocket launcher. Don't mean to put any pressure on you, Brock, but that's Brock Taylor for those of you normal people. The Brocket launcher is his nickname. And he's going to score a lot of points. And there's going to be a game that's going to come down to a kick, and he's going to make it. He's going to drain it. That's a basketball term. He's gonna knock it through the uprights, and he's gonna win a game for us. So I'm excited about him. And then Marlon Sewell just being a good human, and he's also going to be a great player in a safety position that is essentially wide open. Dante Carter, he's making plays, but he's kind of up and down. Carson Lawrence is a freshman, so naturally he's up and down as freshmen are. Marlon Sewell has been making plays. CJ Hurd has been making plays, but like nobody's really grab those positions and grab the bull by the horns there at the safety position. So that's something there. But having these guys on watch list, man, it's incredible, man. And this team just really honestly has no choice. I'll put it one more time. This team has no choice but to be better. Like, you have those guys in key positions, like you're just naturally going to be better. And you're naturally like, people thinking that Vanderbilt is the same old Vanderbilt. They're not. They got these guys to stay. All these guys could have bolted. Stowers could have gone to the draft. Pavia could have said, you know what? I'm not going to fool with the NCAA. He fought to come back to Vanderbilt. And just keep that in mind. And he was a key part in recruiting some of these receivers coming over. So there's a lot of things that are being answered in camp. We're going to talk about kind of how camp is going. We've kind of hit at one of those dead spots in camp where it just, a lot of people hit that dead zone a little bit. We're going to talk about that next. Speaking of dead spots, I guarantee you the team could use some 5-hour energy transfusion. That's for sure, man. They had a rough day on the practice field, but that's okay because it's time to fuel up and turn up with 5-hour energy transfusion. It brings bold grape ginger and lime flavor to your favorite golf drink, minus the alcohol, into a quick, energizing shot. Whether you're sinking birdies or just making memories with friends, this one's a hole-in-one for your energy game. Let's be honest, man. Some days on the course or off it, you just need an extra boost to stay sharp and stay energized. I know at school, and pardon my voice, I've been talking all day at school, so I'm a little hoarse. But you just need that energy, man. And man, I was one of my wildest shots, man. I was on a par 5. It was another one of those great drives that just set me up for a chance at eagle. And I'm sitting there with an approachable shot into the green, and I thought I squandered that shot, hit it into the green side bunker, and I was all upset. But you know what? At this point, I was like, you know what? I'm in the bunker. If I get up and down, like I can make birdie. Like this is going to be good. And lo and behold, I just about dunk it into the hole from the bunker. So perfect bunker shot. It bounces 1, 2 in the hole, and it does that kind of like bank off of the flag stick. So that was really cool. But I have a lot of those stories. Golf is all about good times with good people, good flavors, and of course, the grape ginger lime flavor that gives you the best parts of your clubhouse go-to without chasing down the bev cart. So if you go to 5hourenergy.com today, that's the number 5hourenergy.com, you can use my promo code LOCKEDONGOLF to receive 20% off your first order. This offer is only valid until September 30th on one order and cannot be used with other promotions. The code is not good on subscription orders. Whether you're meeting up with friends or trying to turn 18 holes into 36, get the energizing boost you need to power through. Order transfusion flavored 5-hour energy shots today. Man, I could use one. Thanks for making Locked On Vandy your first listen each and every day. We're free and available wherever you get your podcasts and on YouTube as a part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Locked On SEC is the next place to go. All right. Chris Gordy with camp firing off all around the conference. That's the place to go, man. Locked On SEC. He's got it all covered. Right. And I appreciate you guys, you everydayers. And today was the first day of school. So if my voice sounds a little bit rough and raspy, and if my energy is shot, it's because it actually is. I am exhausted. So I don't know why I'm admitting that to you, but I'm a teacher. I'm an educator, and I'm an educator full time. And it's exhausting on the first day. You just talk way more than you normally would on any other day because you're going over policies, you're going over stuff. So anyway, speaking of all of that, speaking of being exhausted, okay, that's kind of the theme of today. Okay, first day of school, all that, right? So the biggest thing about the practice reports today was the energy had been great up until today, up until this latest practice. A lot of sloppiness. It was the first day of full pads, no focus, no energy. It was just kind of like blah. They had a lot of pre-snap penalties offensively. It just was sloppy all around. Guys were getting banged up. Like it just was one of those, like every team experiences this. So like, I'm not really panicking. It's just kind of the mode of how they're going into an off day. Let's just say it's a much needed off day, but coaches are not happy nonetheless. And that's okay too. So for those freaking out about, oh gosh, here we go. This stuff happens to everybody, man. You get those days in August where you're tired of hitting each other. It's just, you've had a bunch of practices in a row. You're just not really focused on these certain opportunities. And it just happens. It really honestly just happens. And I'm not worried long-term unless they stack a few of these days in a row. But if this is like a one-off and they don't do it again for another week or so, like it's kind of normal. And so I'm not worried about it. It's just one of those things. But, as a coach, like you got to be worried about it. You got to keep your guys on their toes. And it's not, you can't win that way, like making all those pre-snap mistakes. But this is the time to do it. This is the time to learn from it. This is time to get on the same page. So being worried about that, I'm not worried about that at all. Also, what is simultaneously great and simultaneously awful is Martel Height. Dude is electrifying on offense. Dude's a great corner, getting tons of great reps on both sides of the ball. He goes down with a concussion. That's the bad part. That's the horrible part, right? He goes down with a concussion. He's in concussion protocol from what I read. He's in protocol. So hopefully he has a good speedy recovery and he's back and normal and better. But it just, the momentum that he had on offense, the momentum that he had just in practice and being a star, it's disappointing because he was soaring upward. And he just, it's a setback. You get injured. This happens. It's a violent game. So I just hope he gets well. But I think still he's going to be one of the best weapons that Vanderbilt is going to utilize throughout the course of the season. Like I can't wait. And I think he changed his number to 4, but I can't wait to see 4 streaking down the sideline, and Pavia laying one up there, and he goes and gets it, and it's, hey, touchdown, Commodores, and they blow the little horn, the brrr, and then it's just crowds going nuts, the south end zone, like it comes apart because the excitement just can't handle it. It's going to be electric, man. When he's in the game, defenses are going to have to really account for him. I'm excited about what he brings to the table. Trey Richardson is living up to his billing. Like, he's probably the most unheralded guy coming out of D2. Like, the expectations for him were not very high. You come out of D2, it's just like, hey, whatever you can give us is a bonus. But that dude's showing out, man. He's becoming one of the most consistent receivers. Him and Junior Sherrill, I think, are starting to separate themselves as the best 2 guys. Trent Hudson was getting that way, but he's banged up now. I think he's got a soft tissue injury from what I remember from Clark Lee. But these guys they're just getting after it, man. And it's been great. It's been great watching this offense kind of figure it out. Offensively with Cedric Alexander being on the Doak Walker list, like I'm gonna dedicate a whole episode, so I'm not going to spend too much time on it right now, or a whole first segment. But the explosive running game, I think, is going to be something that Vanderbilt is looking forward to because MK Young is going to add to that. Obviously, you've got a little more depth. Gabe Fields is actually performing quite nicely. I think they need a couple more bodies at the running back position. Like I would like to see them add a guy or 2 in the next cycle and just kind of really build that room back up. AJ Newberry, I think, is somebody that I'm really excited about when he gets back and they really cut him loose because I think he's gonna come back slowly. I don't think they're gonna give him a ton of carries and a ton of touches early on. I think they're going to kind of work him in. That's kind of what I'm predicting based on his injury and what he's been dealing with. Obviously he's a full participant, but a lot of times that doesn't mean just because you are eligible to be a full participant doesn't mean that you are because, it's a long season and he's going to have to contribute. We would like for him to contribute just as much in the Charleston Southern game and then more by the time we travel to Knoxville. Like, we'd like to see him be full complement to Cedric Alexander and MK Young. Like, that could be a really good 3-piece backfield set there. And Cedric Alexander is going to be a special dude. And, when I say special dude, I mean, that dude is physical, man. He'll run you over. He'll mow you down. He'll lead for Diego Pavia. Like, he'll catch some things out of the backfield. Like, he's an all-around great dude. I'm not sure about his home run threats. I'm not sure about his home run threat ability. I'm not sure about him taking 175 to the crib. But I don't think it matters. I think if you can chew up yardage, get big chunk plays, run where you're supposed to run, wreak havoc in pass pro, block for Diego Pavia on occasion, and be an absolute hammer on that end of the field as well. I think as long as you can do those things, you're going to be just fine. You're going to be a great running back. You're going to be highly productive, and you're going to be, you're going to be extending runs. You're going to be, I think your offensive line is, really just kind of, making things happen for the run game. This is probably the best run blocking offensive line that Vanderbilt's ever had. So that should be not a problem at all. Play action, I think, is something they'll probably take advantage of so that these guys don't have to pass set all the time, and really kind of help Diego Pavia doing what he's doing. So I'm really excited about that. I'm really excited about the direction of this team, despite all the mental errors, the lack of energy, and all that stuff that tends to happen to a lot of teams during this point in the summer. I'm not worried about any of that. I just want, I just think this team, if they bounce back in practice number 7, which I think they have an off day and they practice again, if they can bounce back in practice 7, if they can have a good scrimmage on Saturday where the offense and defense win equally, then everything's back on track. It's no big deal. So this is, like I said, this offense is a work in progress. It's an exciting work in progress. They have options, which is exciting, and they have a lot of things. They have a lot of potential to be a lot of different things. So I'm excited about that. I'm excited about the direction of this offense. I'm excited about how it's going to evolve. I'm excited about all these Ward watch list guys. I'm excited about Martel Height when he finally gets back and watching him streak down the sideline on a go route and Pavia dip, play action, rip it out there. Let's get it going. So offense is going to be great. But I'm also really stoked at the fact that the depth of this linebacker position is insane. And these guys are going to be able to wreak havoc on this defense. And what that does, what having a great linebacking core does schematically and psychologically for your defense, it's amazing. But we're going to talk about that next. All right, thanks for making Locked On Vandy your first listen. We are wrapping up here on the Locked On Vandy podcast. Excuse me, I am losing my voice by the minute, so I don't know honestly how much longer I can go. But here I am. I'm fighting through it, man. I'm ready to run through a wall and fighting through it because this is what we got. It's what we got to have. Locked On. You got to have the Locked On Vandy podcast to get you fired up. So if you're listening right before a workout, right before you're about to do your set, you're sore, you're going, just know that I'm gritting through this myself, man. My voice is almost completely gone. So just bear that in mind. I got to get my teaching voice back. I gotta get it back. So I'm getting it back. Anyway, I'm fired up, man. I don't know if you can tell. I went on, I didn't really know what it was, to be honest with you. It was some TV show down in Alabama. I think it's Auburn based, and talked about Vanderbilt, talked about how good this team is going to be and how good the situation is going to be in NIL. So I'm excited about that. I'm excited for a lot of things. And I think the future is bright, man. The arrow is pointing up. And this linebacker depth is, let's just say ridiculous is a good description of how I view this linebacking depth chart, because, man, it is outstanding with what we have here. And it's, I think having 4 guys on the inside is outstanding. The starting group, Brian Longwell and Langston Patterson, they're not giving it up anytime soon. And those guys are just as they're chomping at the bit, man. And they're absolutely performing in that role. Then you have Bryce Cowan, who is also, he's made a bunch of appearances, but he's only made 1 start, and he's nipping at the heels, man. Like he's right there. He's making plays. You have Nick Rinaldi, who's just been straight up impressive throughout camp. He's somebody that can do a lot of different things, so he has some versatility to him. And so I'm excited about this group. You have Randon Fontenette, who's kind of that star position, which is a safety linebacker, which, depending on how you feel on a particular day, you classify him as a linebacker, or you can classify him as a defensive back, depending on how you feel. Nonetheless, he's going to be a badass. He's on the All SEC teams by Phil Steele. He represented Vanderbilt at media days. He's probably, as Martel Height called him, he's the silent killer. He's Rambo. He's going to pop up. He's going to pop up out of the bushes in the jungle and just end you. Right? That's what he does. He's Rambo. If you've ever seen the Rambo movies, you know that's how Rambo kills all the bad guys. He just, if there's a bush and there's a bad guy, Rambo's going to be in the bush. The bad guy's not going to know that he's there. He's going to pop up, get him. Right? That's Randon Fontenette. He's just there. He just does it, man. You're just like, oh, yeah, it's Randon Fontenette. It's almost like not exciting That's he's almost like not excitingly good. And that's where you want to be, honestly, because you're dominating. When when you dominate so much that people just expect it and people aren't surprised, and they get to the point of where they're just kind of like, yeah, we're excited about him, but he's going to do his thing, man. He's going to do his thing. So, but this is a great group. These inside linebackers, man. Just that position group in general, it's going to be really good. Marcus Hanby, somebody that I think is emerging as a star position as well, just so you know. Nick Rinaldi can play that spot. Keanu Coate could probably, depending on what they want to do, personnel group. But when you have this much depth, right? When you have this many guys, you have 4 guys at the inside linebacker spot. You have a couple of guys and situational guys behind them at the star position. You have these things covered, right? And so what it allows you to do is when you have really good inside linebacker play, it allows you to kind of manipulate how you want to attack the gaps. It allows you to have more versatility, more deception, and a variety of different looks when you want to attack the other team, right? It allows you to throw defensive line bodies in the A gaps and have those guys scrape. It allows you to fan those guys, have those guys take A gap, and then play any other games in between that. And I'm not even talking about blitzing yet. I'm just talking about coverage of gaps. It allows you a lot of different things. You can slide some things, and they can scrape weak depending on tendencies. There's a lot of variation on what those guys can do based on their abilities, because they can play downhill and they can play side to side just as easily. And then you have a really great star position guy, and you have a good edge guy on the defensive line that can help set your edges to where these inside linebackers can really play free. And in the passing game, I think they're going to have more coverage responsibility this year. I think because the increased depth in pass rushers is going to allow them to not have to blitz all the time, which I think towards the end of the year, it felt like one or both of those guys were blitzing excessively. And I think that's what led to a lot of third downs that were converted, things like that. So, and I think some of that was Steve Gregory, and you could tell where Steve Gregory was trying to cut his feet. I think he was still very new as a play caller, and I'm glad he got that experience last year. And, I'm glad it was able to happen. I'm glad he was able to learn a few things as far as play calling, tendencies, reading things, film study, game prep. I think the game plans were great. I think it was just him and his adjustments to certain things that teams were doing is kind of where he struggled, because Vanderbilt got out of the gates great in every single game they played. Out of the gates, they were on fire. All right. But later in the season, they wilted because A, they didn't have the depth, and B, they just didn't make the adjustments. And that was just Steve Gregory just being a little green, calling plays and not being quite as polished as you would probably want him to be, or as he would want to be. All right, all that's different. You can kind of tell just by reading the practice reports that he's just more into it, and you hope that carries over into games, and I think it will. I have no reason to believe it won't. But when you have a crew like this, that makes that easier. When you have guys that have high intelligence like these inside linebackers do, I think all 4 of them are highly intelligent, both regular IQ and football IQ. So I think you're good there. But it's just a scenario of, you have a lot that you can do with these guys, and that's exciting. And that, as a play caller, just makes you that much more comfortable. And that makes you, as an offensive coordinator, that makes things difficult, because you key in on those guys and you try to manipulate those guys as best you can. A good offensive coordinator is going to manipulate those inside guys, the backers and the safeties. A good offensive coordinator is going to be able to do a good job of manipulating those guys and getting them to do what he wants them to do, versus the center, the interior, the cylinder defenders dictating what the offensive coordinator does. So it's that chess match right there. And I think when you have quality pieces, it makes that defense really pop, right? Think about all the teams that had elite linebacker play. Just think about how they played defense. Everything else just kind of fell into place, because when you have those guys, they can erase bad things. They can make up for deficiencies. They can cover up a bad lineman occasionally. Now, if it gets to the point where that situation doesn't improve, it can get overwhelming, and it typically will. but these guys are able to help that. And you got depth here. So like none of these guys are going to get avalanched, and you have some really good combos you can roll out there. Like you could conceivably do a Cowan Longwell combo of linebackers, and you have behemoth guys that are smart. And then Prince Colley's sitting there. He comes down from Notre Dame. He's extremely talented. He just hasn't popped yet. He hasn't shown out yet. But this is his year also. Like there's some competition. Some of these freshman guys, Austin Howard, Jamison, and those guys are, those guys are outstanding. And those guys can, they can get it done. And speaking of getting it done, I gutted through this show, but this is all the voice I have left. This is an exciting group. No need to panic through 6 days, but there's a little bit of concern there, which is normal. But don't panic. This group's going to be fine. They're going to be great. I can't wait to see the upcoming practices, and I can't wait to see the reports from the scrimmage. I want to see how this team responds to having a bad day. All right, but until next time, Locked On Vandy coming at you. Corey Burton, thanks for making us part of your day. Anchor down, behave yourselves. Peace.